I said, do you want to build a snowman?
Sure.
Really?
Kind of.
You know it's pain in the ass to build a snowman, right?
It can be exhausting.
It's very
It
exhausting.
can be tiring.
When you realize the bottom base is the thing that kills you. You know how big the bottom base has to be?
From there, everything's easier.
Yeah, but it takes you like 2 hours to roll the ball. The first ball.
No, it doesn't take too.
It takes forever.
Depends on the level of snow.
Forever to roll the ball. And then you realize you have to make layer 2 and 3.
Or you could do what we did that one time when we built SpongeBob Snowman and got it on CNN.
We did.
And that was the last snowman
I should put that
we've
up.
ever needed to make.
I should put it on Insta story.
Yeah. Robin Mead has seen our SpongeBob snowman.
Yeah. And we said that no other kids would knock it down because it was too cool.
What was the name of the weather guy? Bob
something.
Van something? I don't know. God, shit.
Yeah.
I haven't watched them in so long.
But I was saying.
I hope Robin Mead's still there.
Yeah. By the time you do layer 2 and 3, you're fucking exhausted. And then you have to commit because now you just have this like no face snowman. And then you're like, I don't have coal. How am I supposed to do the eyes? I have no coal. Who has coal?
We just used to use like leaves or stones.
Well,
or
that's
something
what you
that we
have
would
to
find.
do. But like classic is you get some coal and a carrot.
Nobody has coal.
That's what I'm saying.
Nobody has
Unless
coal.
you're one of those
And
grill people who have bags of coal.
you know how much trouble I would get in if I went back inside the house and my mittens were covered in coal? Yeah.
Because you have coal in the middle of winter.
Yes, exactly.
You know, when you're not working on the train.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, and then by the time you do that, and then where do you get the top hat? Do we just have top hats laying around? Scarves?
Yeah.
Like scarves, easy,
Scarves you can
sure.
get.
But then you got to sacrifice a scarf to leave outside and freeze.
That's true, yeah.
I don't know. It's fun. The idea is fun, but then you realize it's a mistake, and if you have kids, you have to commit because you can't show that you quit things.
Yeah. I remember a handful of times rolling a snowman in my parents' front yard in my childhood home and like trying to like get all of the snow, and then like he had this like naked yard where like green grass showing. And like one time I just tried to roll the whole yard. So like I could just roll
it's
it
like
and roll
mowing
it.
the yard?
It was like bigger.
Will you go roll the yard?
It was bigger than me. And like I think I could roll.
Did your dad get you to roll the driveway?
No,
so
but
he can
it was
get
that
the car out?
kind of classic Vancouver thing where we get every handful of years we get a good snowfall, but it's not necessarily every year. And then so you'd have like this big giant boulder in the front yard that would just slowly dwindle away over the next day. So like everything's green except for this little
snowman.
or this
out of place snowman.
Once 5-foot boulder that it's now like
that took you
sad.
2 hours to build.
Yeah. That was good. I'm gonna open up my beverage. You're enjoying a water. Welcome to another episode of I almost had a pint with friends. Welcome to another episode of Weird Together.
Yes. It seems like it's been a while, but I don't know if it has.
It's been a little while. It's been we put up an episode a week ago, I think.
Oh, okay.
Maybe
Not that long,
maybe 10 days ago.
10 days.
I'm having Radiant Things, and we're going to talk about some of the fun Halloween horror movies that we watched. Not Halloween horror movies.
What is that beer called?
Did I just run right past? Radiant Things.
It sounds like Radiator Springs.
I'm drinking Radiator Springs.
That's what it sounded like to me, and you've got a Cars themed beer.
I wish. You want to smell that?
Sure.
Yelled that into my microphone.
It's foamy. The foam looks like ice cream.
This is another, hopefully a delightful beverage from Steel and Oak. Radiant Things brings bright flavors of hibiscus and grapefruit into crisp, refreshing, balanced harmony.
That's damn good.
Is it?
Yeah. I had to get past the foam, but it's good. And you're drinking it out of your new glass.
I'm drinking out of my new glass.
Your double, what is it called? A double glassed?
It's a hand-blown glass by Henckels and somebody.
Mm-hmm. Henckels and Henckels? I don't know.
Henckels
the knife brand.
Yeah. It's something in Henckels.
Yeah.
It's like a 2-layer glass. It's lovely. I'm going to put up a It's on my Instagrams, and then also I'm going to do a little video. I'm going to do a YouTube's video over on A Pint with Friends, and I'm going to see how well it keeps a beverage cold.
Yeah.
Because that's the idea with the double layer worth of glass. Double layers of glass.
Yeah, it works with coffee. I know that.
It did. Yeah.
It totally keeps it in tea. It totally keeps it hot longer.
But that's about beer. I'm just going to enjoy this beer. But today we're going to talk about a bunch of the movies. We're kind of doing like this 31 Days of Horror.
We're trying to do the 31 Days of horror movies or Halloween type movies.
Yeah, I don't.
Mostly like stuff on Shudder. We try to keep it. We prefer thrillers or horror movies.
One more thing to the list that I forgot.
Okay, we prefer thrillers or like horror movies with comedy. When I was younger, I couldn't watch Hellraiser. I could never, ever get through it. And I kept saying, we should watch it and see if I can get through it now. I don't know why. There's something about Hellraiser that got me. You know what's funny? It was one year back in Florida on Halloween where you go to the bars and stuff, because we used to always go to bars on Halloween there. Yeah. Everybody does anyway. But there's one guy every year that spends all year making his costume. I think I'm probably a cosplayer now.
Oh, for sure. Yep.
He got out of his fucking Supra. just keep that car in mind.
Paint a picture for me.
He got out of his Supra.
Yeah, Toyota Supra.
As Hellraiser.
That's amazing.
Or is that his name? Is his name Hellraiser? Or does he have a specific name?
Isn't his name Pinhead?
Pinhead. Okay. He got out of the car as Pinhead. And then he put his stilts on.
Wow.
And I was just like, no, fuck no. I am not going to this bar. It freaked me out so much. Especially when he got the stilts on and just started walking in. I was just like, nope. And at this point, I've already been drinking. So it just like intensified my fear.
Right.
So I was just like, no.
You think this guy was just going, I'm just going to go down here and win this costume contest.
Imagine him stepping out of a Supra.
I love it.
As Pinhead.
Yep.
And then getting higher 2 seconds later. And I was on the other side of the car, so I didn't see the stilts. I saw him get out, stay like normal human size.
And grow.
And just grow. And Scott's catching our washer. Okay. Imagine.
Well, we never stopped it.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Imagine. I was saying, keep in mind I was on the other side of the car. And I was on the driver's side, not with him, but just on the other side of the car.
What were you driving?
I wasn't, because I was drinking. I was very responsible.
Good.
Yeah.
What car were you getting out of, though? A truck.
I was with a friend, trying to think of what she drove. I actually don't remember what she drove. It was just a car, just a tiny shit car. But yeah, and I just saw him stand up like a normal human, and then he grew with the stilts. And then I was just like, when you're drunk and all of a sudden you see someone just standing there already freaking you out, and then he just goes up.
Right. Yeah.
I can see that. Imagine him bending down, because you have to bend down to put him on or whatever he was doing. And then just go, that just freaked me out.
I'm actually imagining what the pants situation was when he was driving the Supra.
He kind of wears a dress. It's kind of like a long jacket dress situation. Okay. It's not really a dress, but you kind of like Star Wars, the
cloak.
You know how what's the guy's name in Star Wars that sits in the throne the whole time, and especially
Palpatine?
Yes, never his thing went all the way to the ground. It was kind of like that.
Yeah, good cloak.
Yeah, but it's like dress though. There's no pants.
Right.
I don't think.
It's a good question. So I think I watched part of that movie as well, probably like age of 13.
But never finished it? So you don't remember? I remember the box.
I know, yeah. I know I watched the whole movie. I know it kind of freaked me out, and I've never seen it since.
Oh, so you're both freaked out.
We should. But let's talk about
Space Mountain of movies.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Let's talk about some of the other things that we've watched. We'll do a quick summary of the list, or do you want to start with the ones? Let's start with your recommendations, or what has been your favorite. I think you should just
don't do a quick summary. We'll do one by one.
Okay. So the one that I just added to my list, which was one of the ones that we actually watched first, was something called Trick or Treat.
Yes. I have been obsessed
You have been.
with the aesthetic of this movie for so long, especially every time we go to Spirit Halloween, I see the little Sam character and I'm like, that is such a cool character. The little lollipops with the hat with one bite out of it. I just loved the aesthetic of it. I didn't care if the movie was shit. And I was like, I guess I should watch this movie to see what it's like.
I think it probably took us a couple of Halloweens to really figure out what that guy was from.
Well, it started out because
we've seen the Sam character.
We
but
mentioned
didn't know
this
what it was
before,
from.
I think, in a podcast before, but it started out because I liked a sweater at Hot Topic.
Yeah.
And I didn't end up buying it because the buttons were in the place of my boobies and it looked really funny, so I never bought it.
Right.
I don't know. I just like the aesthetic of the whole thing, and then so we ended up watching it, and I liked it.
It was not what I expected it was going to be, but I really found it entertaining, and I thought it was pretty well done. And then upon watching, I did like a little bit of reading up on it, and it has a bit of an interesting backstory too. And apparently, the dude has been trying to crowdsource a sequel for a long time.
Yeah, he has a cult following.
Yeah.
So
it's interesting.
yeah,
so,
I like it. Is there really an explanation of where he's from? He's kind of alien-like. He seems to be alien.
He definitely has some powers.
An alien who's obsessed with Halloween like the rest of us.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe he just needs to go to Disney World when it's normal times and go visit, or even Universal at Halloween Horror Nights. Maybe he'll be happy there.
Maybe. That's true.
Maybe he just really wants to get a poison apple drink at Disney World. Yeah. I don't know. But I liked it. I recommend that
Looking
movie.
at our list, I would say that I would actually recommend probably like 90% of our list. There's only been a couple that were actually
But even
bad.
the shitty ones, it's still good to watch so you can go, what?
Yeah. Well, and that's true. And some of these movies that we're going to identify are clearly like cheesy bad movies, which are great. In the
to
movie
a point. There's one movie that I don't recommend, but also the aesthetic is beautiful though. But anyway, we'll talk about it when we get to that movie.
Okay. Well, I don't really have them in the order that we actually watched them in.
No, it's fine. What did you think of it?
I already said. I said that I really liked it. I thought it wasn't what I thought it was going to be about. And then what I did like about it, which was the fact that it didn't really tell a story in a linear fashion, like where it started.
It really has no story.
Yeah, no, it has a story, but it's told in a way that it's a little bit backward. It loops back to the beginning of again. So things are told out of order. And I think some of the performances are pretty good. Some of it's cheesy. Some of it is a little bit out of left field.
Some of it's unexplained, like
what I thought it was.
Like the women who are wolves.
Yeah.
I don't know where that's from.
Yeah.
Unless they're just saying there's just other creatures out there like him and the wolf people and werewolves.
This is going to lead to one of the other examples. This is going to lead to where I think somebody had a bunch of ideas and thought of a clever way to stitch it all together, but not all the ideas were great. Like the wolf storyline looked interesting, and then all of a sudden, like it does just sort of come out of nowhere. Like not to ruin anything, but it was never followed up on.
It connects people in a way,
it connects
but
people,
not really.
but not in the best way.
No,
right?
They should have did it like the Mortuary Collection.
That's what I'm going to talk about. Yeah. So I think that it's, and yet I didn't hate the movie at all. I enjoyed it. I thought it was entertaining enough, and maybe because we happened to see it first, maybe I was no. You know what? Forget it. I'm not unforgiving, or I'm not overly forgiving about it. I just enjoyed it. I thought it was okay.
It was everything I would hope.
I thought it was going to be this little Sam guy hunting everybody down.
Yeah,
and he wasn't really in it that much.
I actually thought it would just be the little Sam guy because in a lot of the parts of the thing, he's just standing in the background watching.
Yeah.
I actually thought he was just going to be watching all these murders happen because there was other murders happening besides him doing it. I actually thought he was just watching them like he controlled the murderers because it seemed like to be a lot of murderers for one town.
Yeah.
But
in one night.
So
there was a bit of a
like
lore.
a possession.
Like so and there was like this sort of school bus thing, and there was the children that had died, so there was like this little bit of a lore that you're figuring out, and that was interesting. And then that storyline kind of ran its course and it was good. It was interesting.
Well, I guess it ended with the storyline of the school bus thing. I guess that's the main story, I guess.
which doesn't happen until much later.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. Like if I told that story linearly, God, that word isn't hard. Maybe it wouldn't have worked as well.
Maybe. I liked it though. I mean, I don't know. I just liked it. I'm glad I can still be a fan, not of just the aesthetic, but of the movie itself. But it'd be interesting to see what he does with the part 2.
Would you add this to your list for next year?
I'd watch it again.
Would you wait a couple of years or would you watch it next year? And I don't know if that's a measure.
I don't think I would watch it next year because I think there's going to be a whole batch of new stuff.
Yeah.
Because the way Shudder has been working, and same thing with Hulu and Netflix too, they've been putting up some Halloween new movies.
I was surprised that we actually had to buy this movie or rent this movie from iTunes.
Why is it not on Shudder?
Wasn't on Shudder. Wasn't on a lot of places.
It doesn't make sense.
The fact that I had to pay $3.99 or $2.99 to watch it kind of pissed me off. But whatever, it was $2.99.
It should be on Shudder. I don't know.
Should be.
And it's Halloween time. It should be on every freaking station. It makes no sense.
A lot of these things that we have been watching have been on Shudder, which has been really, really great because that's like $5 for a month or something like that.
Great.
And has a lot of stuff
I
on
might
it.
continue to keep Shudder for a while until we stop using it because I'm enjoying watching different movies every night.
Mm-hmm.
So
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's our next movie? The
next one that I jumped the gun on earlier was a Shudder original called Scare Me.
Yes.
And that was also quite great. And
movie, different and new. It was a brand new thing. Just came out this year.
And I think we might have watched it like the early on it being added to Shudder.
Also, the girl that's the star of that, she's been in everything. In The Boys, she's just popping up everywhere.
Her name is Aya Cash.
Yeah, she's been in everything. It seems lately that we've been watching.
And this was a good one too. I thought this was an original concept. Mm-hmm. It's a writer that goes and rents a place in just like in a remote area. He like rents a cabin, and he happens to meet someone else who's also a horror writer. He's more of a aspiring writer. She's more established. Yeah. And they just have this weird little evening together, which is where the title comes from, which is just she's telling him to scare me. Tell me a story.
What you got?
What do you got? Tell me a story. Yeah. You can do better than that. And he's getting pushed to come up with a story. And without going any further details than that, I thought it was really kind of cute. Or not cute, but it was really well done. Mm-hmm. They're kind of acting out the stories. There's some tension building through it, and an enjoyable watch. What did you think?
I think it's great, and without ruining anything, it has a really nice twist at the end, which is awesome. I like a good twist, especially if it's a double twist.
Remember we were watching IT Crowd, and he said, "Don't even say twist.
Yeah,
don't even tell me there's a twist coming.
Don't tell me there's a twist."
I've been careful not to do that because now I'm just waiting for a twist.
Yeah. But I like this one.
I
highly recommend this one. This is actually that one actually goes up on probably my top 5 since we watched so far.
I think I would watch this one next year because, and we're not just watching these because it's Halloween.
Maybe they'll do another one.
I think it is just the change of season, and these are good movies. Like these are not Halloween themed movies. No. If you like, and this one isn't even horror. It's not a huge horror movie. It's a bit more suspenseful.
I just wanted to. I like using October to immerse myself in a genre that we don't watch often enough.
True. Yeah.
And I do like the genre. I'm not a big gory horror fan. I think movies like The Saw and stuff where it's just constant murder and blood. It's not the same as when we watch movies in 80s when we watched Freddy Krueger and Jason and all that stuff.
Right.
Halloween. It's just different now. It's more gory. Like I would never watch Human Centipede.
No, I've got no.
That's totally too far for me. Like too much.
I think we both have the same feelings when it comes to scary movies. Mm-hmm. Like we don't love gore, but when you see gore,
I like funny gore.
I can handle it.
Funny gore.
That's true.
Like if you blow like in a movie we just watched recently, a head got blown off and they did it in a funny way, and that's funny.
Right.
Versus like gore and then or just someone's sewed to someone's asshole and watch the whole movie watching them shit in their mouth the whole time. I mean, I've never seen it. I just assume this is what happens.
Once I heard that, it's like, nope, I don't need to see that.
I can tell you what happens. Someone finally rips away and they got like ripped out lips or something at the end.
Right.
I don't know. I don't want to know what happens. It just seems gross.
So the other thing about Scare Me was it was written and directed by Josh Rubin, who is also in the movie. So he's the star. He's the male lead in the movie, and with Aya Cash.
Cool. It was good. I recommend it for sure. I would come back to that. I would give it a couple years because I want to forget the stories and then rehear them. Because if I come back a year from now and watch them, it'd be like, I just heard these stories because you're getting the same stories over and over again.
Right.
But I would love to see them do one every year of a Scare Me with maybe different cast or like friends going to a cabin and they're all just telling scary stories versus the writers. But I like that it was writers though.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do every year if they do more of those.
So, didn't mean to cut you off, but I wanted to jump on to the one that I thought that was similar in the respect that it was little short stories carried through by a theme, which I know you love this as well. It's called the Mortuary Collection. And without going into, I think the less you know about watching this movie we watched the trailer and probably got 30, 40 seconds into the trailer.
This isn't Shudder, by the way. This is, I think, Hulu or Netflix.
This is Shudder as well. Yep.
No.
Yes, it is, because I'm looking at it right now.
It is Shudder? Maybe it is Shudder.
Let me just, right there on Shudder.
Okay.
So I think I yelled out, "Stop it. I don't want to see anymore. I'm in." Like I already...
We stopped playing the trailer.
Stop playing the trailer.
Yeah.
And I think that was good because there was a lot of great visuals going on. And this one is probably up there. It's going to be hard to beat in terms of being, I think it's going to be my favorite one that we've watched so far.
I think it's my favorite one too, but the one we watched last night might be number 2.
Agree with that.
But we'll talk about that one in a few minutes. But this one I loved. It kind of brings back the whole Twilight Zone or like creep show situation. I don't know. I like that you have they're basically a bunch of short stories and they somehow connect at the end, right?
Well, there's two characters speaking that are telling the story. So this is telling two characters telling stories to each other, but the stories are way better. The two characters' interaction are really, really great, and I don't want to say there's a twist. But there's a great fucking twist.
There's a twist.
There's a ton of great twists.
Yeah.
And the stories start getting longer and longer as the movie goes on. So I think there's about 5 different tales that are told. And some of them could be standalone movies, but I think the fact that told in this format was just absolutely perfect.
Oh.
Don't you think?
Yeah, I think it's great, and I hope it actually left it to where they could do a number 2. And
number 2.
It'll be interesting because the way it ended, they can actually do this with different cast every time if they wanted. That's all I'm going to say. The way it ended, they could do a different cast every time, and I think it was wonderful. It had the feeling of what's that movie with Doogie Howser in a TV show? Not Doogie Howser, but
How I Met Your Mother.
No, the TV show that he has right now. That is on right now that he films here.
Yeah. I want to say Fabulous something, but it's not that.
The one where he's chasing the kids all the time to get their money.
Yeah, the one that we loved the first season, stopped watching the second season.
Yeah.
For no good reason. I have no reason to tell you why we stopped. The Lemony Snicket or something like that.
Yeah, that one, the Lemony Snicket one, whatever that's called. It has it feeling like that, like the background graphics and the aesthetic. I guess it's good. I like this one. I would totally watch this again next year for sure.
I might not even wait.
You're just gonna watch.
I may not watch it and not wait. Like it wouldn't have to be a Halloween time.
No, for sure. No, it's so good. I hope that I do feel like a number 2 is coming though. That's what I think. They set it up for that.
Every time you say number 2 is coming, I just think somebody's taking
sequel.
A shit.
Should I say a sequel?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, usually though, a number 2 makes sense because a lot of number 2s are shit.
Hey, there you go.
Like Gremlins too.
There you go.
But so that coincides.
Yeah.
With number 2s.
The Mortuary Collection was written by Ryan Spindle, and I had a little exchange with him on Instagram. Because I loved his goddamn movie so much. You apparently, then we found out we had a little bit of a connection.
Oh, because I was talking to one of
people.
my fellow Spoolytown friends about that we were watching the movie, or she saw my post and she said, "Hey, I know that guy."
Mm-hmm.
And
so we're like,
I probably
okay.
won't say everything she said,
Yeah.
but I know that guy, la da da da, and I'm gonna share this and tell him you guys liked it. So
then he shared it. He wrote back, and then she sent you like a screenshot of like, "Hey, that's awesome! Like he loved it."
Yeah, he
and
said
then
it was
so
awesome.
I was like, "Well, who the fuck is this guy?" I'm looking up the director. I'm gonna go tell him I'm enjoying his movie.
Yeah, and then one of the other people who worked on the movie wrote me and said, "I'm glad you really liked it." So that was cool.
I think probably shot in Vancouver.
Both I think have been to Vancouver for sure.
Yeah,
there's definitely pictures of them up northwest area from Portland to Vancouver. They've been doing stuff. But that's cool. I'm glad that they are excited that their movie's getting some more action, because it sounds like they were doing the what is it called?
Like the festivals.
So the movie festivals, and they were doing really well at the festivals. So
and now guess what? Not a lot of festivals happening right now.
No, and this is they've already done a bunch.
Well, but I mean, festivals that happen have all gone like online anyways.
Yeah.
So it's great. This guy sold the movie. It was bought by Shudder. And again, I think this was the kind of thing where we watched it the day it came out, and maybe a day later.
I don't know how they did this high quality movie on a small budget.
I don't know what the budget was.
It doesn't sound like it was a massive budget.
I don't think it was, but I think
maybe $1 million or something. Like it wasn't.
Feel like I should reach out to this guy and see if he would do a podcast with us.
Wow.
Or see if he would do Pint with Friends with us. I bet you he'd probably say yes.
He's a beer drinker.
But then I feel like, shit, I got to rewatch this movie again and find out more stuff. But I was
Wait till you see him. Do you follow him now? Wait till you see him in Vancouver and then reach out.
No, but I could do a phone interview.
I guess so.
But it's also the kind of thing where, like, I don't want to have like a 3-minute conversation with them and then run out of ideas. But I don't think I would run out of questions. But also, it's the kind of thing where I don't want this movie ruined for anybody. Mm-hmm. And the less you know about this movie, I think the more you will enjoy it.
Yes. I'm gonna tell you the movie location. Do you want to guess?
Sure.
Do you want to guess?
Vancouver.
Not Vancouver, but closest. In Oregon.
Vancouver, Washington.
Oregon, where apparently he spends a lot of time.
Oh, really? Okay.
At the Flavel House Museum.
Cool.
Flavel, Flavel.
Sure.
On 8th Street.
Let's go there.
Yeah, in Astoria, Oregon.
Okay.
Astoria. So it was filmed there. And let's see what else. I was just trying to see if there's a budget for this movie, because I was very surprised at how the high quality of movie that. What?
Huh?
Wait a second.
Oh, I'm waiting.
Wait, the Scare movie is attached to this. Wait, okay, I thought maybe he had something to do with Scare Me.
Oh, no.
No, never mind. Just bringing up all the movies we watched at the same time.
Okay.
I don't see anywhere in a budget, but I thought I read somewhere that worldwide gross was $69,000. Doesn't seem like enough. I don't see the budget though.
We need people to watch this movie, man.
Don't they usually list the budget here on IMDb?
I don't know how any of that works, because I don't know.
I hesitate to stay in the microphone, but you're not. Yeah, I don't see a budget, because I thought I read the budget was like $1 million or less. I can't remember exactly, but it's really well done and I love it. That's definitely probably my number one, especially the first story. It just blew my mind the way they shot that part. We can literally tear this movie apart and talk about every scene, and not tear it apart, but just talk about every scene and how amazingly done.
Analyze it, yeah,
analyze it, I guess is a better word. But I loved it. That's definitely my number one.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I don't know when we're going to talk about this movie. The one we watched last night is going to be my number two.
Well, why don't we talk about
is
Housebound?
Housebound, because that's the freshest in our memory.
Yeah.
Yeah, Housebound was good.
Housebound, when we were watching the trailer, I immediately thought, this might be too scary for what I'm feeling right now.
Well, the one we were going to watch was called Hair on Hulu.
Yeah.
Bad Hair.
Is that what it's called? Bad Hair?
I think Bad Hair on Hulu, which we might watch tonight. which the trailer was pulling out hair. The hair was falling out their scalp all bloody. And I was like, we can't eat dinner and watch this at the same
No,
time.
that's right.
So
Yeah.
maybe another night.
Yeah.
So we ended up choosing Housebound because it was more like a suspense kind of situation. And
Yeah.
it was about a woman who, it starts off with them robbing like ATM.
Yeah.
And then of course and it's like, not British, but it's New Zealand.
I think so. Yeah, that's right.
And which makes it even better because the accents are awesome.
Like Kath and Kim.
Yeah, like it reminds me of Kath and Kim actually, which you should watch. Yeah, and then she gets house arrest.
Yeah.
Or housebound. Maybe
Yeah.
that's what they call it there, is housebound.
I guess so, yeah.
Which is a really good punishment for blowing up an ATM and taking money.
Right.
And then her partner dying.
Right.
It's actually really funny. And
Wait, did he die?
she was dragging his dead body to the car.
No, he smashed his head.
Well, either way, I don't want to ruin.
I don't know. I think he's dead. I just think he
Maybe-
got
maybe
arrested.
not.
But we
Okay.
never hear from him again.
Okay, so she gets housebound, then she gets probation officer and all this other stuff,
Yeah.
and a psychiatrist apparently.
Yeah.
That comes and visits her, which is weird for house arrest. You don't get a psychiatrist assigned to you, but maybe other countries. I don't know.
Maybe not. Yeah. But then she's housebound in her mom's house,
Which is
that's- old house that's got some spooky stuff going on in it.
But apparently she can't live where she used to live. She has to live with her mom apparently.
Yeah, they don't really touch on that. Not in enough detail.
Because sometimes
That's okay.
sometimes when you're on probation though, you can actually still work.
Right.
You just go to work
Check
and come
in.
home, and,
Yeah.
and you can't go anywhere else.
No,
but anyway,
this is the whole thing. She's got an ankle bracelet, and she wants to get the fuck out of this house because things are going weird. But she can't. She can't leave the house.
yeah.
So, again, really good story. Some good surprises. Even when we watch the trailer for it, a lot of the things or a lot of the quotes that come up in it, where it's like, this movie's really unpredictable. You can't figure out where it's going.
And I thought it was going to be Ghost. I thought she was fighting Ghost, but I'm not going to say anything past that. But it's just every time you think we finally got to the pivotal moment of the movie where, oh, this is what, no, it goes further.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, oh shit, this is good. And it's made us jump and scream a couple times, like enough to where like we're like, ah,
A few
and
good
laugh,
jump scares. Yeah.
and a lot of laughs. I think there were some really good funny moments,
Which I think is great in a lot of horror movies. And I mean, that is something where you do get the laughter, you get that release. And I think to me, that's very important. I like to be surprised. I don't, it's the same thing where somebody's backing into a room, going backwards, a dark room. It's like, how many times have you ever walked into a dark room? You walk in, you reach your hand around the corner, you put the lights on.
Why is it every house that every horror movie you go to, the lights just don't work anymore?
Of course not. That's a standard.
Just don't work.
Yeah.
Her mom in this movie is pretty wacky. Her mom just was like, oh, that's normal. That's normal because they've been living there for 20 years in the house. And she's like, yeah, I've been telling people the house is haunted for years. So I'm cool with it.
Yeah, there's some good characters in this movie.
I don't want to ruin this movie. And I think I was mentioning it to somebody else that I was talking to on Instagram, and they said they've seen it. They think they watched it last year. Mm-hmm. So it's probably been out for a while. But I highly recommend it if you haven't seen it, because it's my number 2 movie out of my top 5. Mm-hmm. So the Mortuary Collection and Housebound.
So
1 and 2.
Yeah. So I've just counted our list. So I've got 10 on this list, and I also remembered something else that I've added into it, which we'll talk about after we get through all the movies. Mm-hmm. But so Mortuary Collection and Housebound would be your top 2.
Yes, for sure.
And
no
then
doubt.
what about Trick or Treat and Scare Me?
Trick or Treat would be Scare Me would be number 3.
Really? Okay. Yeah, I see that.
And Trick or Treat number 4.
Okay.
Maybe number 5, but I have to remember the rest of the movies we saw. But those are definitely in my top 5.
So let's move on to what I think was probably... So there's some movies in here that are older movies.
I know what my other 5 is, but I'll tell you when we get there.
Okay. And then there's another movie that came out this year that I think... I'm trying to remember if this is on Netflix or Shudder. I think it's on Shudder. It's called Summer of '84.
Ooh.
Not to be confused with Class of 1984.
Yes, which I confused.
Which you confused. So this has got one of the guys from Mad Men in it. And I can tell they were trying to be inspired by Stranger Things.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a group of kids. And the first half of this movie, I'm watching this going, man, you make a movie set in 1980s.
Kids on bikes.
Kids on bikes. I'm in, man.
And they're just in their neighborhood the whole time.
Yeah.
Like they don't go any much further than
Kids
that.
on bikes. Tell me a movie where there's kids on bikes that sucks.
Yeah.
It's not many.
Yeah. I think.
Stand By Me, bikes.
Yeah, exactly.
E.T., bikes.
I was trying to remember which network we watched this on.
It is Shudder, because it wouldn't be a Netflix thing, because they're I think this was pitched as, it's gonna be like Stranger Things, man, and we got somebody that used to be on Mad Men.
Well, this movie started off.
Is it Donnie Draper? Nope.
This movie started off pretty good, and I was actually questioning whether it belongs on Shudder as a horror movie or not. But I guess they do more than horror; they do thrillers and suspense and stuff. Right. But I just kind of was questioning whether it belonged on Shudder.
And I think this movie, would you say it was okay? It
was okay, but not my favorite.
Right.
I kind of. It's like having sex and not getting an orgasm.
Still good. Ish.
Still, you did it.
Still
you
sex.
did it. Were you satisfied? No. I just felt like it is definitely like sex because you know it's coming.
Yes. Yeah.
And it doesn't come.
And then it's just over in an hour and a half?
Well,
wow.
That part's not like sex. But yeah, I think it's good in some parts. The kids were good. They made a lot of the kids look like 80s characters from like Breakfast Club and stuff.
Right.
Which was like, yeah, okay, make everyone look like one of the, what's those movies genre called? The Breakfast Club, all that stuff. Who made all those? I can't remember. Why do I not remember his name right now?
John Hughes.
Okay, make all the kids look like a John Hughes movie.
Right.
Doesn't matter. They just have to look like that. That's my vision.
Yeah.
I want them to look like a John Hughes character.
Right. Right.
So that's what they did.
Right.
It was predictable.
But it adds some music that sounds like it's directly from Stranger Things.
Oh, there was one music I said it was like Risky Business.
Oh, yeah. Totally
it was
true.
Straight up Risky Business.
Yeah.
I even put my phone and asked you what song this is from, and it brought up Risky Business.
Oh, that's right. It was the actual song. Okay.
And so I believe this was the movie that did that.
Yeah, you're right.
So they just totally took stuff. What they've done is took stuff from a bunch of other movies, put it into this movie.
Okay, so there's the classic Hollywood move of
recognizable things.
Why did this thing work? This thing worked because of this, and this, and that never works. You can't just piece together.
You can't take
things.
pieces of things you like from other movies and put it into one.
Yeah. So true.
Yeah, you pretty much know at the beginning what's the predictable thing that's going to happen. They say it. He says at the beginning. Every neighborhood has the one neighbor.
Yeah.
Or something, the suspicious neighbor.
Well, it is. I think the problem for me was it's weird because you want to watch the trailer to see if it's worth your time.
Mm-hmm.
But the trailer gives away so much, and then in the movie, it's like, whoa, hold on a second. Like they didn't even once question the fact that this was the guy that they were suspecting. Like all of a sudden they're all in on it. It's like well, I didn't know. This is a little too predictable. Too predictable. I need a little bit more of a setup.
There wasn't even like a twist at the end. It's literally what it starts out to be.
Yeah.
There's nothing predictable about it, there's nothing exciting or changing or twisty about it.
Also, I didn't hate it.
I hated it at the end because I was pissed that it didn't go anywhere. And that makes me hate it.
Okay.
And you put all that time into a movie and there's no great ending.
So the payoff wasn't there for you.
The payoff wasn't there.
It was a little bit of a cop-out.
It was safe. I think. I don't think they can come up with a better...
Okay, yeah, I'll buy that.
It's not terrible. It's better than The Love Witch. but it's not terrible.
We watched it over 2 days too. So like some of these things we're watching a little bit late, and then I got to go to bed because I've been have to.
Well, I would have to say though, when you get to the ending and you finally see what happened, that's where it gets gory.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Right.
It's one payoff. One thing.
Anticlimactic.
Yeah. And
worth a watch, or would you say skip it?
Well, if you enjoy sex with no finish, then watch it.
All right.
I guess.
Just put that on a poster.
I mean, if you're ran out of movies, then watch it so you can yell at the TV and be like, I knew it.
Watch these 4 other movies that we've
If you don't have a lot of time on your hands, then I would skip it for sure.
Okay.
Just because it's exciting to see a movie like this get made. The poster is really cool. But
this movie probably had more money than the Mortuary Collection.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I feel like they did more maybe, and they had a bigger budget, but they didn't deliver. And execute. There's probably so many great scripts sitting around that could have done such a better job with that money. But I don't know. It's not awful. It's not as awful as another movie we watched, but.
Right. So I'm going to bring up another one that I thought was pretty good. I remember it being interesting. I thought it was a good setup when we watched it. That was called DeadTectives.
Yes.
DeadTectives.
Yes.
This movie has so Aya Cash, that was in Scare Me, her co-star in that TV series that they had called You're the Worst.
Yeah.
The English guy, he's the star of this movie.
Yes.
Can't remember his name. I could look it up while you were talking.
DeadTectives might be in my top 5.
That was good. I thought that was clever, and so maybe putting that up in the 4th spot after Scare Me.
Okay. Yeah. It was good. It was funny. It was creepy.
I fell asleep.
But that you always fall asleep. You can fall asleep to anything.
But I fell asleep not because it was bad. I fell asleep because I was tired.
It made me laugh so hard a few times. Like,
this movie was clever. Good.
They
good
played on ghost in a haunted house as a ghost hunters really, really well. And I don't know, they just did a good job of it. And one thing I am going to say is, like, one of their friends die and he becomes the ghost in the house, so he's still being a detective after he's a ghost.
Right.
And that's funny to me, and the only way to see him, because they're like, we need to see where you're going, so he puts a sheet on like an actual ghost so they would see it. And it just made me laugh because it's so dumb, because that's obvious what you do, but he put eye holes in it.
Well, they gotta be know where they're
talking to. I know, but it was so good. Yeah. And which way is his face?
So I think this is one of those great ones that it's that comedy scary movie that
still made me jump though a few times.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny, but there's some stuff that scares the crap out of you too at the same time. That was a good one. I love that one. Yeah, I would watch that again too.
Well, I kind of need to rewatch the ending of it, and so maybe I should. But
it was so good.
I did have a pretty good nap.
Ending was good. I liked it. I liked it a lot. There was no weird loose ends or anything. They kind of tied everything up. I liked it. I liked it a lot, actually. And that proves it doesn't have to be gory for it to be scary either.
Right.
Like, I don't know.
We forgot to take a quick break, so let's do that, and then we'll start talking about some of the less than stellar movies that we've watched.
Oh, okay.
All right.
We are back.
We are back.
Casper, the friendly ghost.
Do you want to talk about
the last one we just watched?
So there's two movies that were from, I want to say, your childhood is not, it's not the right way to say it, but there are a couple movies that we watched, Flowers in the Attic and Waxwork. And I'll let you talk about which one you want to talk about first.
Waxworks.
Okay.
I love Waxworks.
Waxwork.
That is not a last work. You know what? 1 second.
The Waxwork.
Waxwork. Okay, it is called Waxwork.
What year was Waxwork made?
Let's see. Let me look at my trusty DVD here, because I own this. You know I like it, because I own it.
We started watching it. We found it was on Tubi, so you can watch it, but it has commercials.
1988, followed by a sequel. And the sequel was in 91.
Wow, okay.
The sequel is Waxworks. Dos.
Do you remember watching this movie in 1988?
I watched this movie 100 times in 1988.
Did your dad have it on VHS?
My dad did not have it. It was me watching USA Up All Night.
Okay.
I love this movie. I don't know what it is about this movie, but I love it. I love that during the fight scene at the end that the China or the one girl picks up the little guy who's like the doorman of the house and feeds him to a flower. I just love, I don't know. I love that. Okay, the concept is this wax work building or house or company shows up in a neighborhood and they're like, that's weird. Why do we got a waxwork in our neighborhood?
They were real big in 1988.
Yeah, the teenagers walking around smoking their cigarettes. Yep. And they're like, the creepy guy comes outside and they're like, oh, where'd you come from? And
yeah,
he's like, I invite you to come visit us at midnight tomorrow night if you'd like to see our waxworks.
On a school night.
Yeah, on a school night. And
you remember when you were in high school and you just went to strange places at midnight?
Midnight, after dinner but before breakfast.
Yeah.
That's what they said.
That's right.
I love that. And then so it is, they go and visit the different displays, and the idea of this is that every display is like a werewolf or vampires or whatever, and each person ends up walking inside each exhibit and they actually get immersed into the exhibit, like they become a part of it.
That's right.
And so they need to have, let's just say they have 12 exhibits, they need to have 12 people go inside these exhibits. So they want people to come in and go inside and ultimately get killed by whatever character they're.
But once they have 12 souls, then everything opens
up.
And all of these demons will come out of
the world. Yeah. But everyone is like a little story as well, because the werewolf one, I think, was the first one. I think.
Doesn't matter.
But they're just small stories. And then my favorite story is the vampire story. Because that just is weird and always freaked me out because they're eating this guy's leg. But
so things have stuck with you.
Things have stuck with me. The China character stuck with me because she had these really bushy brown eyebrows with super blonde hair, and it always stuck with me.
Is that her name?
China.
Oh, okay. I didn't remember.
In the movie, her name's China.
Okay.
I don't know. I just like this movie. It's one of those childhood movies that I watched so many times that.
And this is not we also at some point
it's
years
not terrible
ago,
though. You put it in the terrible category. I don't think it's terrible at all.
Okay, so this is one of those movies that is dated. It feels heavily dated.
But awesome as a dated movie.
It's not a great movie, but it's so
What do you mean? It's a great movie.
So enjoyable because it's campy, because it's not the greatest movie.
I
There's
actually
some
think
funny
it's a
stuff
great
going
movie.
on.
It's a way better storyline than The Summer of '84. It's a way better thought out storyline. I'm right. The fact that a waxwork exhibit, you fall into these exhibits,
yeah,
and you become a part of it, and you get murdered in it, and then when you get murdered, you become a part of the display.
I will say this: it's using 1988 or 1987.
The height of waxworking.
the technology, it's Back to the Future came out prior to that, but it had a big budget. This didn't have a big budget, so they're being creative with what they can, do.
It's no different than Puppet Master or anything.
You're right.
Like that.
You're right. It's not a B movie, but it's somewhere a little bit higher than that, right? Like it's a B+ movie.
But it has the guy. Is that the guy from Gremlins as the main character?
I think so. Anyways, hot on the heels of Gremlins. This is what we parlayed it into. What I'm trying to say is that they made sometime in the 2000s, they made a remake with Paris Hilton.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
And that movie was fucking terrible.
Oh, they fucked that up.
That movie had all the money in the world. Yeah.
They fucked that up, Larry.
And that was, that's right. That was like they were on a car trip and car broke down.
So they walked
and
inside
then they stumbled into a waxwork in a small town.
Why change it?
Yeah. So And there you go. That's something where a
forgot.
modern day, not nearly as good as something like this that was charming and it's fine. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I liked it. I loved it, and it'll always be in my childhood memories movie for sure.
I didn't watch it when I was a kid, so I don't have the nostalgic factor with it. I do like it, and I know we'll watch it again.
Yeah, and we got number 2.
And it is one of those kind of things that you can throw on in the background, and you can enjoy some of the cheesy, fun moments. There are some clever little things.
It's like me going and watching Saturday the 14th.
Yeah,
I love it. We should actually watch that because it's the right time to watch it. But every time I try to watch Saturday the 14th, every time it's Saturday the 14th.
I think there's one coming up in November.
I tried. That's my little tradition.
That's the goal. Yeah.
And if you haven't seen Saturday the 14th, I highly recommend you watch it because it's the best. If you ever heard the term, there's bats in my belfry.
Nobody's heard that.
Somebody's heard that. There's been references to that in multiple movies.
Sure.
If you put out on Instagram, there's bats in my belfry.
Somebody's seen it.
Somebody's going to respond and say
true.
Something. Yeah.
That's true. That's very, very true.
Which I highly recommend. I don't want to take anything away from this movie. It's total 80s. It's total cheese, but it's awesome. There's monsters and creepiness. There's the swamp thing in it. Like there's so many things in this. It's comedy.
Yeah.
It's comedy gold.
That's true.
So I love that. Anyway, that was just one thing I wanted to throw out there because that Saturday the 14th and Waxworks have been my movies, my jam.
Right.
For that kind of movie.
And that's the thing that I'm trying to say. It's like, but Waxwork is a better movie than Saturday the 14th. But Saturday the 14th is campy. I think it's meant to be campy.
Why do you got to compare the children? They're both great.
Okay, let's move on to Flowers in the Attic. I'd never seen this movie.
I haven't, and that's one of those things.
This is another one that you've been telling me about for a long time, and we finally watched it.
Yes. It was nice to rewatch because it's been forever. I would say 20 plus years since I've seen it. And it always freaked me out as a kid. Like it's just one of those movies where it's fucked up.
Give us a little setup, and then
what is it? The father dies, so the mom.
We got a family.
Apparently, they have no life insurance.
We got a family. We got a family of 5. Father, son. So father and wife.
4. Family of 4.
3 kids.
No, 2. Oh, wait, you're right. The
kids.
little kid. Yeah, 3 kids.
3 kids.
Yeah.
Happy family. Yay.
We're actually kind of creepy family still.
We're all happy, and then all of a sudden, Dad dies.
But Dad was creepy.
A little bit.
He was creepy to his oldest daughter.
Yeah.
Which I kind of feel like child molestation kind of carried over.
Yeah.
In this family. He was very creepy to his daughter. Then that's the very beginning of it. And the mom's creepily watching in the hallway like she knows, but she doesn't care because it's normal for her.
So in order to basically protect the family for a better, I guess they're basically evicted from their house.
Because they had no life insurance, apparently.
The mom decides that she's going to go back to her parents' house.
Who she hates. Her parents have
very
mega
wealthy.
Bucks. Yeah,
very
mega
wealthy.
bucks.
And but things are not all what they seem.
Well, the parents never forgave her for marrying someone they didn't approve. So she had to go back she had to swallow her pride and go back to the house and try to win her dad's affections back. Right. But the family would not her dad knows nothing about her kids.
Right.
Her mom has never told him. And so they had to lock the kids up in the attic.
Right.
And the kids were like, "What? You're locking the door?"
So I can see why that would have been very traumatic for you as a kid, being around the same age. By the way, the daughter in this movie is played by Christy Swanson, who you might remember from Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Buffy, yeah. They had one sweet attic though.
Oh yeah.
One hell of an attic because it was like a room with 2 beds, and they're like, okay, actually, was it 4 kids? It was 4 kids. It was 2 little ones, a boy and a girl.
There's 4 kids.
And an older boy and girl.
You're right.
And so the grandma was like, you guys can't sleep together. It has to be 2 girls in a bed and 2 boys in a bed.
Right.
And of course, they get caught sleeping with the little ones were sleeping together because they're best friends.
Right.
And creepily, the older brother and sister slept in a twin bed together. It was really creepy.
There are some relationships in this movie that are very
strange. I feel like incest and child molestation carried over to a couple generations.
but also the older brother and Christy Swanson.
It's very much like that Blue Lagoon.
Yeah,
it's very creepy.
It's
that's creepy in its own right. But then the grandma didn't want anyone to know about it. But mother was also fucked up because she didn't care what happened to her kids. And
this is one of those movies where I was yelling at the TV.
And I actually don't want to give away the
TV.
ending because the ending showed what the mother had planned the whole time for her kids.
Yeah.
And that's what fucked me up at the end, was seeing what grandma had planned for those kids.
Right.
And I was just like, that's awful.
Yeah.
And did it say it was based on a true story?
I think it was based on a novel. Let's see.
I know it's based on a novel, but was it a true story?
By the way, we should also say that Louise Fletcher plays the grandma, and she is the Oscar. She won an Oscar as Nurse Ratchet in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Okay.
So there were some heavy hitters in this movie.
Yeah.
Sure. No, sure there was. I think this is one of those movies that is probably.
Oh, I can tell you. Flowers in the Attic is a 1979 Gothic novel by V.C. Andrews. It is the first book in the Doppelganger series.
Doppelganger.
Doppelganger, and followed by Petals on the Wind. If there be torn seeds of yesterday, Garden of Shadows. So, okay, let's just not read all these because it sounds like there's a bunch of books in this series like Harry Potter. But yeah, it was written in a first person point of view of Kathy Doppelganger. It was twice adopted into a film in 1987 and 2014. There's a 2014 version of Flowers in the Attic. We should watch it and compare. The book was extremely popular, selling over 40 million copies. So maybe it's not a true story?
No, it's based on a novel.
Okay, so it was followed by Petals on the Wind in 1980.
So we should watch the 2014 version because I think probably this was probably a good novel, poorly executed.
I'm sure the novel must have been more terrifying. I imagine it'd be more terrifying.
Because there's a lot of stuff in this movie. It's just like, they totally could have gotten out of this house.
Well, they made it impossible because they tried to get out of the house once. But they had like the creepy gardener.
Yeah. There was dogs on the property.
And anyway,
there was no phones.
I don't know, but it's worth watching because it truly is a crazy story. And I imagine if you didn't want to watch the movie, read the book, because I imagine the book would be more terrifying.
Right.
But as a kid watching it, it's very terrifying. I can see, like, if you let your kid watch it, I kind of feel like they'd be horrified.
Right.
And it would still come across that way too.
Well, okay, so
and the mothers, let's lack
you
of better
saw
words,
it at a perfect age where it damaged you a bit.
It did.
We've all had those. For me, that was The Shining.
Yeah.
I watched that way too young.
Never go in an attic ever, especially one with the door.
But again, if your attic was like that,
attic was pretty phenomenal.
But it was pretty. But it would have been creepy at the same time too. Big old creepy house like that for sure.
Yeah, but then like the grandmother stopped feeding them, so they were all like getting sick.
Right.
I don't want to ruin the whole movie, but it's definitely worth watching if you haven't seen it.
So, 2 more movies left on our list.
Okay.
One of them was so bad. I'm gonna jump to this one right now.
Mm-hmm.
It is listed on Shudder as Blood Rage.
Yes.
But when you watch this movie, when the title comes up, it says the title of the movie is called Slasher.
Yeah. Weird.
When I looked up the movie on IMDb, it is called Blood Rage. And this one was a true gem of terrible movies.
But kind of worth watching because it's so weird.
It's 100% worth watching because it's terrible.
It's so weird. It's one of those apartment complexes where you can go to someone's back sliding glass door and walk in their house, and that's pretty much what happens.
This movie's
just like this weird shit going on.
It's got terrible acting.
Teenage boys who dying to get laid.
It's got topless girls. It's got bad effects.
Yeah.
Inconsistent storytelling. Mm-hmm. And it's got one guy playing twins.
Yes. I imagine there's not twins playing. I imagine that it's the same guy.
It's one guy playing twins.
Well, you never know. They might get some twins in there.
Oh,
but
it was the way it was shot. It was one guy playing twins.
It was interesting. It wasn't great, but it was good enough to watch and add to your like Halloween watching for sure.
This one is good. This one you could watch, and it'll be funny. There's gonna be some.
Yeah.
It's not meant to be funny.
No, but you laugh.
You will be laughing your ass off. It's very enjoyable. It's very cheesy. It's not great. It's just not great. But I think you'll like it.
Some great hair in that movie, though.
Great 80s hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only thing I have to say about the movie is the mother just got really lazy about going out to the main office and talking to.
There are so many great murders in this thing. And the mom is just like a terrible mom.
And none of them have phones to call the police.
Well, it was 1980. So it took place in 1985.
Mm-hmm. There's phones.
She was on the phone, but she could have walked the 3 minutes to
She
where the guy was.
It's like the only authority in her world is the manager's office of the apartment complex.
That's right.
There was like, instead of calling the manager's office, who happened to be her boyfriend, and he wasn't answering because he was murdered.
Yeah.
Try calling 911.
She has a complete breakdown with the operator, I think.
Yeah, but you know what's funny is it all started because his brother has escaped the psychic ward.
Yep.
And that's how it happens. And they're just like, he'll be fine. He'll be fine.
Basically, I'll give you the premise of this movie. It starts off with the two boys at a drive-in with their mom and dad.
Oh, as young boys.
Young boys. And one of the brothers finds a knife and murders a couple that are making out in a car at the drive-in, and then people start screaming, and he puts the knife in his brother's hand
and wipes blood in his face
and basically pins the murder on his brother.
Mm-hmm.
One brother goes to psychiatric treatment and is locked up for 10 years, 12 years. I think it's 10 years. Yeah. And then that actually doesn't make any sense with how old he is in the movie, but it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
We don't need to dissect this.
That's exactly what they said when they did this movie.
So the murderer is living with his mom and the new boyfriend, and he's clearly unstable, loves his mom
too much,
and the mom loves the boy that's locked up as well, sort of. She goes and visits him.
She still cares. She brings him cakes. She throws it on the wall like a monkey and poo.
It was pie. It made no sense.
It was like monkey throwing poo when she went to visit him. It was like cake.
So there's, if you like escaped psychopaths on the loose.
In acid wash jeans.
Yeah, some good old fashioned 80s
attire.
25-year-old teenagers.
Yeah.
This movie's for you.
I know we're selling it.
Yeah.
It's worth it.
Oh, and the last movie that we talked about, or that we're going to be talking about, was called The Love Witch.
Oh, God.
And this movie, we got duped into because I loved it within the first 5 seconds of watching the trailer.
Oh, it started off amazing.
But the first 5 seconds in the trailer, I'm thinking like, oh, this is great. This is a movie from 1970. Let's watch this.
This is awesome. And witches from the 70s, awesome. Like it's basically the start of a porn, this movie. Every time.
This movie is dancing on being a porn almost the whole way through.
It's like they took a porn called The Love Witch, took out all the sex scenes, like all the ones that are crucial, like diehard sex scenes, and took those out and just made it like a R-rated movie.
Yeah.
But
instead of like focusing on the sex, focused on finding all of the appropriate props and finding the best locations to put them into, and this movie looks fine. It looks like it's made in 1970. The acting is like kind of poorish, like it was from like the 1970s. Yet there's a couple of street scenes where they've got cars from 1970s, but then there's a 2015 Honda Accord in the background at the same time.
It's like they're living this other world inside a modern world. And
yeah.
Like,
and was there cell phones? Like there was a
cell phone.
There was a cell phone.
And then when she arrived into the town, she moved into an apartment that was already furnished, but furnished like a witch has lived there. She's like, this is my aesthetic. She goes, oh, I didn't know you'd like it, but great.
Yeah.
You're going to take it, right? She's like, yeah, I love it.
Also, it was weird that person was renting her the room, and I just assumed lived in the house as well, because it's like, I've got a house, I've got a room. Up. But she doesn't live at the house. It's like Three's Company.
She just shows up.
She doesn't live in the house at all.
No, not at all.
So it's unclear, and there's nobody else in the house.
No.
I don't think.
And I'm going to rent out my place, even though I have nudity all over my walls.
Yeah.
And candles are always lit in that house.
So a very like decently shot, but really what I'm saying is like the sets, the amount of props that are so fitting towards a certain era.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna bring up Mad Men again. It looked like parts of it looked like as well captured as what Mad Men was.
Yeah.
Yet bad.
I think they meant to do it. I think they meant to do it so horribly. They said, we got to make it look beautiful, but do it so horribly. Because everybody's that I talked to said this movie's been talked about like crazy and getting rave reviews.
It shouldn't.
But somebody said, I'm so glad you didn't like it because I hated it too. I thought it was so stupid. But look beautiful. Like the makeup is done well too, which makes sense because it's modern day shooting. Because this is a 2020 movie, isn't it?
It was 2018.
Well, it wasn't that long. It wasn't that long
exactly.
ago, and I guess it just showed up on Shudder
or something.
something.
I'm trying to understand is like so much time and energy went into the look of it, yet the story had holes in it. The acting, okay, maybe. Oh, we wanted it to be cheesy. We wanted it to be like that. Sure, maybe, but like then there was just some things in it that were just so bad, for lack of a better word.
And there's a lot of nudity, like. Not that I have a problem with that, but like they'd have these like little witch meetings. And if you sit in the front row, you have to be naked. That's basically what it seemed like.
And if you're
in the back, if you're in the second or third row of the witch meeting,
be fully clothed.
You're totally fully clothed.
Also, if you're into watching like middle-aged men's flaccid penises.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of penis in it too. Also, those happen to be front row.
This could be for you.
But what her little ritual she had or in getting into the witchcraft, what is it called? Her initiation. It seemed like in order to be initiated, she has to get naked, get on the table, and the leader has to have sex with her.
Yep.
Total porn.
That
total
checks
porn.
Out as cults go. That's how that
what
works.
It looked like to me. Like he was going to crawl on top of her and have sex with her.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There was peeing in a jar. There's bloody tampons. They were trying to get a message of women has been taken advantage of for decades or forever, and that was a good message, I guess, in the movie.
Yeah, real feminist stance,
And so as she wanted to minus away the shitty parts of men and just take from men what they wanted.
She wanted to capture her sexual power that she had and take control of it, and the movie just doesn't really have any sort of payoff. And then I'm trying to remember actually what happened at the end, but I think again it was very much like, really, this is over just like this? Like,
didn't she die?
I'm trying to remember what happened. There were some funny scenes that just didn't make any sense.
It was it's one of those people who are like, I'm gonna make this movie and I'm gonna make a really bad movie, but we're gonna make it look amazing and it's gonna be so cool. And and the acting has to be like low level. Like it. Yeah. So I don't know. People seem to be talking about it. It's probably, I don't know. I want to say hipsters who are like, yeah, it's funny. It's funny that they actually classified it as slasher horror or something. No, horror comedy.
It wasn't supposed to be funny, and it wasn't really horror.
I didn't find it that funny.
But you and I were both saying, it's like you even said, what is this movie even doing on Slasher, on Shudder?
Shudder, yeah.
Because it's not really scary. It's not a horror movie.
No, it belongs on the porn channel. It's a little bit more of the sex scenes could have brought it into porn. It just sounds like a setup for porn.
But even like there wasn't that, like there was 1 or 2 sex scenes. Like there was nudity going on for no reason.
No,
but then the sex scenes weren't like.
Well, you know how porn starts, where it's like this little conversation.
I'm familiar.
Yeah. Well, that's what it seemed like this whole movie.
Yeah.
Just setting it up for this.
Right.
That's it. That's it. That's
payoff.
all it is.
No payoff.
The Love Witch.
So let's finish up with one other thing that we watched that I just remembered while we were doing this episode. And it wasn't a movie, but it was probably the number one thing that we watched.
Really?
And that was Zomboat.
Wait, I remember this? How long ago? Did we watch this like a week ago?
A week ago.
Okay, remind me again. I remember watching. I just trying to remember the storyline.
So Zomboat is on Netflix. Zomboat is a 6-episode British series.
Yes. Why did I forget that? That might jump to my number 1.
Yeah.
Dang.
So
Dang, that was good.
Zomboat, I think it's a must watch.
We got through that in 2 nights, I think.
It's only 6 episodes, so we watched 4 episodes in one sitting and 2 the next, and we were just like, "Oh man, we're is sad." Over.
There'll be more though.
There's supposed to be more. They haven't even shot season 2 yet, and it should have been coming out by now, but because of the pandemic,
because it's an apocalypse movie, they can totally do it.
So Zomboat takes place in England, and it's very much of the humor of Shaun of the Dead.
Yes,
but you're following 2 girls. And they are both fucking spectacular in this movie.
Yeah.
And you are going to love this movie 10 seconds into it. And it's not a movie, it's a TV series.
And it's a fantastic concept.
And there's nothing more really to say other than if you like zombie movies and zombie stories.
But a new version of zombie movies, like...
Yeah.
It's interesting. Like, I don't want to give too much away because I feel like you're going to be really pleasantly pleased on how they did this movie.
Yeah.
And, like, only thing I'll say is the only way they can escape it, because they didn't know what was happening. And I don't want to give away the twist at the end. Yeah. But the only way to escape is they thought they would take canal boat, because that keeps them away from the zombies, but the boats move so slow.
Right.
But it's just, it's so good. It's so funny. I love British stuff like this. Like, It totally has Shaun of the Dead vibes.
If you love Shaun of the Dead, if you loved Hot Fuzz, because it has that comedy behind it, the characters that these 2 girls come into contact with
and gory,
are great.
But funny gory.
Funny violence. Yeah. Funny violence.
Yeah.
It's great. I just wish there was more of it to watch.
I kind of feel like if zombie apocalypse happened and things that they do, like when they're, one of the things in the boat is like, one of their friends were in the boat. And she was already a zombie, and they're like, well, we have to kill it, right? And so they're doing the classic kick it in the head and it wouldn't die.
Right. And
they keep throwing things at her. They're hitting her over the head 100 times, and they're just like going, what? It's not dead yet. So just the comedy of them trying to kill this thing is so funny, because it's not like the classic Walking Dead where you fucking whack it in the head and it's gone. They're working a little harder at trying to get this thing down, and they're just looking at each other going, I don't know, try this.
And it's modern. It's 2 modern day 20-something females. One of them's plays video games. The other one, I can't remember what she did.
Which makes her really good at this.
Right.
Yeah.
She's the one with the plans. The other one has just broken up with a boyfriend, so she's very much distracted by that. There's a whole social media aspect of this as they encounter different people. You're seeing the zombie apocalypse unfold in real time as people are trying to figure out how to manage it.
What the hell's happening,
and it doesn't have a massive cast, and you're really only following these people, so you don't really know much about what's going on outside of their world. So it's just great. It's just this small little story following.
I love it, and I love that. I love the twist at the end where actually the 2 girls at the beginning are sisters.
That's right.
They're sisters.
They are sisters, aren't they?
Yeah, they're sisters.
Right.
Yeah, it's good, and it's very new. I think it just came out not that long ago.
Came out last year, like October last year.
Yeah, so it's probably. I mean, I can't wait till another one. It's so good. It's probably one of the better things I've seen this year. I keep saying that, but
So I think what I'll do is when I put this in the show notes, I'll put all the links up there. I'll put it in the order of how we rated them. You know what it is. I mean, sometimes you want to watch movies that are awesome, that really change your life. I don't know if any of these changed my life, but there was a lot of things on here that the Mortuary Collection I think was really truly inspiring, because I do think this was just smart filmmaking, and I think a lot more people need to see it. Scare Me, you're right, that makes sense too. Really, really strong. And then there's some fun, campy, cheesy movies that just need to be seen as well.
Yeah, and I think we'll may have a part 2 of this, because we have another week or so of watching. We'll probably watch more than a week's worth, but our sort of 31 days of movies, which obviously we haven't done 31 days. How many movies did we do?
There's 11 titles on here, so 10 of these are
12
movies.
including the TV show?
I think it's 11 with the TV show.
We started late.
Yeah.
But I like doing the 31 days of movies.
I think we're going to continue on because we haven't even scratched the surface of stuff that I've wanted to rewatch. Like, we should rewatch Hellraiser. I almost said Heckraiser. We should watch Heckraiser.
That's the porn version.
I've wanted to rewatch the original Halloween. We watched the latest one.
Yeah.
A few months ago.
Which you fell asleep.
No, fuck, it was longer than that. It was 9 months ago. It was probably last Halloween.
The newest.
Because I remember talking about it with Matt in person, and that was more than 8 months ago.
You remember talking to someone in person?
I remember you used to talk to people other than you in person.
You talk to people with their face.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was probably last year.
The year the handshake died.
I have not seen Halloween since I was a kid. I don't think I want to watch the Friday the 13th. Like, I think none of those are spectacular.
Oh, I love the Friday. Not the new ones. I love the old ones.
But, like, where do you stop? Do you watch the first?
I would only watch the ones I grew up with.
By the time you get to 3, you're probably done.
No, like the classic ones you grew up with. Yeah. I love those. I love the early Freddy Kruegers. And those always still haunt me, too. Those Freddy Kruegers really messed with my head as a kid.
Oh, yeah.
And I actually wanted to buy a Freddy Krueger sweater. And we forgot a movie we watched.
Okay.
The Chucky. Did we talk about that already?
I think we talked about it prior.
The new version of Chucky.
I think we did.
Because I bought a Chucky sweater, so we had to, or not Chucky, it's called Child's Play. Yeah. But we watched the newer version of Child's Play. But we might have talked about that.
I'm trying to remember if we talked about it on this podcast or another or the Pint with Friends. But we might have done it on Pint with Friends.
Yeah. So we watched that one too. Better than I thought it was going to be, actually. It was actually not bad.
You know what? It was okay. They made Chucky a smart device, which was quite good. Again, it had some humor to it. As a updated movie, I think it actually worked okay.
It wasn't bad.
But they made him look weird.
He looks really weird.
He looked disturbing, but not in a horror way, just uncomfortable.
Just weird. It's not the classic Chucky has to be cute. And this is not cute. He looks like a pedophile. Yeah. I don't know. It's just weird. It's just a weird look. Right. And if you see the cover for the movie, you'd be like, I don't know.
I think it was on Amazon. It was on Amazon Prime. Yeah. Is where you can find it.
So that was that's where we kicked off for watching. Right. Yeah. Good point. That was on our list of things too. I knew there was one that we missed.
Man. So we'll keep going. We'll keep you posted. But tell us if you've got things that you any recommendations. Shoot us a message. Yeah. Let us know. Go to anchor.com. Go to anchor.fm/weirdtogether and you can leave us a message. Tell us what you're watching. Tell us what your recommendations are. Yeah. Tell us if you saw any of these movies and you think that we're wrong. Tell us you think The Love Witch is the greatest movie of all time.
I question our relationship with you if you like The Love Witch. If you can like the makeup, you can like the aesthetic.
Yes.
But the storyline is stupid.
Yeah.
And I love witchy things. I think tonight, I think we might watch Bad Hair unless we stumble across something else. But yeah, I'm excited to keep going and watching more fun movies. It's nice to go and try to force yourself to watch these movies that you don't necessarily go to in the middle of the year.
You know, we watch a lot of TV series, so you're watching it for, night after night after night after night. It is kind of fun sometimes to watch just a movie, and it's one quick and in and out. That's what she said. Yeah.
I was trying to get there, but I was yawning.
Yeah, you're in the middle of a yawn, so I saw you doing it, and I went for it. But Also what she said. Thank you for listening, everyone. And we'd love it if you'd go and write a review on... You okay? What just happened there?
You know how you can't stop yawning and then you want to... you're trying to keep your eyes open and you're just like... I just look like I'm changing into a zombie right now.
A little bit of a mini stroke right in front of me.
I did. I was like, good. I was trying
So please send Shannon your well wishes. Go to Instagram. Look for Shannon. She's StarWhale75. She needs it. She needs your support.
Apparently I need sleep.
Send money. Thank you for listening, everyone. And until next time, goodbye, humans.